What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix for Week 9 of the 2021 CFL season. I'm Ryan Coop here with another depth chart update for you for Friday night's game between the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the BC Lions. Of course, Week 9 is already underway. We had the Tuesday game between the Edmonton Elks and the Ottawa Red Blacks. What a performance by Ottawa in that one. Some great fantasy performances along the way as well, so you may have a good head start on the week already, but you got to get those lineups locked in for the remainder of the games. I have this depth chart update today for this one, and then I will have another one out on Friday as well for the depth charts for Saturday's 2 games to make sure to get you all set for finalizing your lineups for this week. Getting right into the depth chart for Winnipeg and BC, I'll start with the Winnipeg side of things. The Bombers getting some huge pieces back on defense finally this week. On the defensive line, Steven Richardson is back and is in the starting lineup. Casey Sales, who's filled in pretty nicely, if I do say so myself, will move to the backup slot there, but they do get a big piece back in Steven Richardson. One of the big pieces who was good in helping them stop the run in 2019. So maybe a bit better run defense now for the Bombers. They also finally get linebacker Kyrie Wilson back. He will be lining up at linebacker alongside Adam Bighill and Alden Darby. So 2 really good pieces for the Bombers to get back on defense this week. Especially, I think that will help them in stopping the run. You know, they've been the worst team in the league against running backs fantasy-wise so far this year. I think we're going to see that trend maybe a little more downwards if these guys can stay healthy. The Bombers will also be getting a good boost to the return game finally. Janarian Grant is finally back from injury. He will replace Charles Nelson in the lineup. Grant had himself a fantastic 2019 season and was an integral part of this Bombers team. So I'm excited to see what he can do. The return game's been pretty much non-existent in recent weeks. Very few sparks that it has provided the Bombers. So I do think they are getting some big help in that regard by having Grant back in the lineup. Offensively, everything is the same as 2 weeks ago against Edmonton. Zach Collaros lines up at quarterback, Andrew Harris at running back, and at receiver you've got Darvin Adams, Rasheed Bailey, Nick Dembski, Kenny Lawler, and Drew Wolotarski are the rest of your receivers for Winnipeg this week. Looking at the BC side of things, the Lions always have one of the most interesting depth charts. You have a couple guys listed as questionable game time decisions, as always. You have a couple guys listed in possibly misleading positions on the depth chart. Once again, just like they did last week, the Lions have James Butler listed as the starting running back and Shaq Cooper listed as the kick returner, punt returner. No Chris Rainey in the lineup again this week. I'm not sure how accurate this is going to be because they did this last week and Cooper did not return a single kick. He also had the bulk of the reps at the running back position. Butler got in for a couple carries and had a couple returns, but don't let this depth chart mislead you. I expect, once again, Shaq Cooper to get more involvement in that offense, not solely just in the return game. So be a little cautious if you're planning on starting Butler. I know normally the run matchup with Winnipeg is a juicy one. I would maybe stay away from the running backs for BC. I could see maybe Shaq Cooper, as long as he gets you a touchdown and a couple receptions like he did last week, he might be worth it. But you're facing a defense that's going to get some big help back there. And you're also a BC team that doesn't run the ball. I mean, combined they had 7 carries, and Riley had 2 or 3 of them last week. Shaq Cooper had 2 carries for -2 yards and a touchdown, which is bizarre. So I would maybe stay away from either BC running back this week. Also of note on the depth chart, I mean, Michael Riley's still listed as game time decision on here, but I would expect him to play again. I think they're just putting it there all season long. One guy who doesn't have a Q next to his name is Brian Burnham. He was listed as questionable the last 2 games. Seemed like he was struggling a little bit injury-wise in that game against Saskatchewan last week, but he is fully on the depth chart here. No Q beside his name anymore, so expect Burnham to play once again this week. Lamar Durant is still listed as a questionable game time decision and is listed as a backup to Keon Hatcher. If Durant is ready to go, I could see him potentially taking over that starting spot, so perhaps be a little cautious there on the Hatcher front. Other than that, offensively, the Lions will line up with Riley at quarterback. The running back situation, I've touched on that. They say it's Butler. I still think it's Shaq Cooper. At receiver, it's Lucky Whitehead, Brian Burnham, Javon Catoy, Keon Hatcher, and Shaq Johnson, as it has been for the last number of weeks, with Lamar Durant as a question mark and a backup spot. Notable on the defensive side of the ball, Marcus Zales will be missing this game for the Lions. Anthony Chaffee takes his starting spot at the slot back position, or not the slot back, the strong side linebacker. I saw SLB on the depth chart and immediately thought slot back, but strong side linebacker, Sales will be replaced by Anthony Chaffee. And the Lions will be getting some a nice piece back on the defensive line with the return of J.R. Tavai this week. So a couple changes on offense. I guess same offense, but a couple question marks on offense and a couple changes on defense for BC this week. In terms of players I like in this game, I still really love Lucky Whitehead as a fantasy option. He's such a dynamic player on offense. The Bombers struggle with tackling at times. I could see Whitehead breaking a couple and using his speed to go for a big gain. Also, he's been handling some of the return duties in recent weeks, and the Bombers miss a lot of field goals, so there is potential for return yards there. I really like Lucky Whitehead for BC this week. I still like Javon Catoy as a cheaper option for them as well. And on the Winnipeg side of things, I do like Nick Dembski to be give another consistent performance this week again, as we've seen in the past. So those are your depth charts for the Friday night game between Winnipeg and BC. Make sure you set your lineups accordingly before that game. And as I said before, stay tuned. Tomorrow I will have your depth chart updates for the final two games of the week out tomorrow as well. If you missed it, you can go back, check on the channel. I've got positional previews for your quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and defense to help you set your lineups for this week as well. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions, put them in the comments section or tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42. It starts with a K. The link to it's in the video description. And if you want to play CFL Fantasy alongside myself and other viewers, there's a link in the video description for that as well. You can join our group over on the official CFL Fantasy site and play alongside myself and others this week and every week throughout the 2021 CFL season. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.